Number 10. Paris has no stop signs. When most people imagine Paris, they picture the Eiffel Tower, cozy cafes, and romantic streets glowing at sunset. But beneath that postcard-perfect image lies a surprising reality that catches many visitors completely off guard. One of the most unusual facts about Paris is that the city no longer uses traditional stop signs on its streets. Across roughly 6,500 streets inside the city limits, drivers navigate without a single standard stop sign. Instead, traffic relies on signals, yield signs, roundabouts, and an old French driving rule called priority to the right, where vehicles approaching from the right have the right of way unless signs indicate otherwise. For first-time visitors, it can feel chaotic. Cars, buses, bicycles, scooters, and pedestrians seem to move in every direction at once. Yet somehow, the system works. Instead of stopping at every intersection, drivers are expected to stay alert, anticipate other road users, and keep traffic flowing, rather than constantly braking. This approach is very different from what many Americans are used to. Paris itself is also far more crowded than most people expect. The city proper is home to just over 2 million residents, while the greater metropolitan area has more than 11 million people, making it one of Europe's largest urban regions. Every day, millions of commuters and visitors share its streets, creating a city that is vibrant, fast-moving, and constantly alive. So why doesn't Paris feel exactly like the movies? Because behind the romance is a city built on centuries of history, narrow streets, and unique traditions. And that blend of beauty, complexity, and unexpected rules is exactly what makes Paris one of the world's most fascinating capitals. Number 9. The 2-hour French lunch. If there's one habit that surprises visitors almost immediately, it's the way the French treat mealtime. In France, eating isn't simply about satisfying hunger. It's considered one of life's greatest pleasures, and that philosophy shapes everyday life in ways that many foreigners never expect. Unlike the fast-paced lunch culture common in many countries, the French traditionally take time to enjoy their meals. While work schedules have become busier in recent years, especially in large cities like Paris, a proper lunch can still last well over an hour in many workplaces, small businesses, and family-run companies. Sitting down for multiple courses, having real conversations, and stepping away from work are all seen as important parts of maintaining a balanced lifestyle. France's famous food culture is also recognized around the world. In 2010, the French gastronomic meal was added to UNESCO's Intangible Cultural Heritage list, recognizing not just the food itself, but the entire experience of gathering around the table, choosing quality ingredients, pairing dishes thoughtfully, and enjoying meals with family and friends. The average French household also spends a significant portion of its budget on food compared with many developed nations, reflecting how deeply cuisine is woven into daily life. Fresh bread from the neighborhood bakery, locally produced cheese, seasonal vegetables, and carefully prepared meals remain everyday traditions rather than special occasions. Even dinner follows a different rhythm. Instead of eating quickly in front of a television, many families still gather around the table for an extended meal that can last well into the evening. Conversation often becomes just as important as the food itself. Number 8. France's cheese culture is wild. Most countries are known for one or two signature foods. France is different. Here, an ordinary loaf of bread and a piece of cheese are not just everyday groceries. They're symbols of national identity that have been cherished for centuries. Start with the baguette. Every morning, millions of French people stop by their neighborhood bakery to buy a fresh loaf, often carrying it home tucked under one arm. In 2022, the traditional craftsmanship of the French baguette was added to UNESCO's Intangible Cultural Heritage list, recognizing not only the bread itself, but also the generations of bakers who continue to make it by hand. For many locals, a day without fresh bread simply doesn't feel complete. Then comes the cheese. France is home to well over 1,000 named varieties of cheese when regional and artisanal specialties are included, although around 400 are widely recognized and commercially produced. From creamy brie and camembert to the intensely aromatic Roquefort and Époisse, every region proudly defends its own specialties. Some cheeses have such powerful aromas that first-time visitors are genuinely shocked, yet locals consider those strong scents a sign of quality and tradition. Cheese is rarely treated as a snack. Instead, it often has its own course during a traditional French meal, served after the main dish and before dessert. Pairing different cheeses with fresh bread and regional wines has become an art passed down through generations. This deep respect for food reflects something much bigger than taste. Across France, recipes, baking techniques, and local ingredients are preserved as part of the country's cultural heritage. What may look like a simple lunch to a visitor is often the result of traditions that have survived for hundreds of years. Number 7. The café culture never stops. For many visitors, one of the biggest surprises in France isn't a famous landmark. It's how much time people spend sitting in cafés. In a world where coffee is often grabbed to go, the French have turned the neighborhood café into an essential part of everyday life. Walk through almost any French city, and you'll notice outdoor terraces filled from morning until late evening. Some people are reading newspapers, others are working on laptops, meeting friends, or simply watching the world go by. It's not unusual for someone to order a single espresso and remain at the same table for an hour or more. Unlike in many countries, cafe owners generally don't rush customers to leave, especially outside peak dining hours. This tradition dates back hundreds of years. During the 17th and 18th centuries, cafes became gathering places for writers, philosophers, artists, and political thinkers. Some of history's most influential ideas were debated over small cups of coffee in Paris. Even today, many historic cafes continue to welcome both locals and visitors, preserving an atmosphere that feels timeless. Coffee itself is served differently as well. The classic French espresso is typically smaller and stronger than the large takeaway drinks found in many coffee chains. Many locals prefer to stand at the counter for a quick morning espresso before heading to work, while afternoons are reserved for slower conversations on outdoor terraces. What makes French café culture so unique isn't the coffee, it's the mindset. A café is not simply a place to buy a drink. It's an extension of the living room, an office, a meeting place, and sometimes even a quiet escape from the busy streets outside. Number 6. French rules that surprise everyone. Many first-time visitors expect France to feel similar to other Western countries, but after just a few days, they often discover that everyday social rules are surprisingly different. What seems like a small detail can completely change how people interact. One of the biggest surprises is that saying bonjour before asking a question is almost mandatory. Whether you're entering a small shop, ordering at a bakery, asking for directions, or speaking with a receptionist, greeting someone first is considered a basic sign of respect. Skipping this simple word may not get you into trouble, but it can make the conversation feel abrupt or even impolite to many French people. Another difference is customer service. In many countries, businesses follow the idea that the customer is always right. France takes a different approach. Service is generally professional and courteous, but interactions tend to be more formal. Staff members are expected to treat customers with respect, and customers are expected to return that same respect. Patience and politeness often lead to much warmer experiences than demanding immediate attention. Personal space and public behavior also matter. Speaking loudly on public transportation, making phone calls in quiet restaurants, or interrupting conversations can attract disapproving looks. French society places a high value on allowing others to enjoy shared spaces peacefully. Dining etiquette follows similar principles. Meals are meant to be enjoyed without rushing, and many restaurants expect guests to linger over their food rather than eat quickly and leave. Servers usually won't bring the bill until it's requested, because doing so too early could be seen as rushing the customer. Number 5. Why French style feels effortless. France has long been recognized as one of the world's fashion capitals, yet everyday style here is often far more understated than many visitors expect. While Paris hosts some of the most prestigious fashion events on the planet, most French people don't spend their days dressed like runway models. Instead, they focus on simplicity, quality, and timeless elegance. Rather than chasing every new trend, many French wardrobes are built around classic pieces that can be worn for years. A well-tailored jacket, a neutral-colored coat, quality leather shoes, and a simple white shirt are considered more valuable than a closet full of fast fashion. The goal isn't to stand out, it's to look polished, without appearing as though too much effort was made. This philosophy has helped make Paris the global home of luxury fashion. Iconic fashion houses such as Chanel, Dior, Louis Vuitton, Hermès, and Saint Laurent all have deep roots in the city, attracting designers, buyers, and fashion enthusiasts from around the world. Twice a year, Paris Fashion Week transforms the city into one of the most influential style events on Earth, setting trends that often shape the global fashion industry. But outside the fashion shows, daily life tells a different story. On the streets of Paris, Lyon, or Bordeaux, you'll usually see people dressed in comfortable, practical clothing with subtle attention to detail. Neutral colors, clean lines, and well-fitted outfits are much more common than flashy logos or bold patterns. Accessories also play an important role. A quality scarf, a leather handbag, or a stylish pair of sunglasses can complete an outfit without making it feel excessive. For many French people, confidence comes from wearing clothes that fit well and reflect personal taste rather than expensive brands. Number 4. France's hidden fairy tale villages. Ask most people about France, and they'll immediately think of Paris. But beyond the capital lies another France that many travelers never get to see. A country filled with medieval villages, stone houses, ancient castles, and landscapes that look as if they've come straight out of a storybook. Scattered across the countryside are hundreds of historic villages, many of which have remained remarkably unchanged for centuries. Narrow cobblestone streets wind between homes built from local stone, colorful flower boxes decorate old windows, and church bells still mark the rhythm of everyday life. In many places, cars are limited in the historic centers, allowing visitors to experience these towns much as they existed hundreds of years ago. France is home to the association Les Plus Beaux Villages de France, or the Most Beautiful Villages of France. Created in 1982, it recognizes only villages that meet strict standards for history, architecture, and preservation. Today, more than 180 villages have earned this prestigious designation, making it one of the country's most respected travel distinctions. Each region offers something unique. In Provence, hilltop villages overlook endless lavender fields during the summer. In Alsace, colorful, half-timbered houses line canals that resemble scenes from a fairy tale. In the Dordogne and Loire Valley, ancient castles and fortified towns reveal centuries of French history, while coastal villages along Brittany offer dramatic cliffs and breathtaking views of the Atlantic Ocean. Unlike the busy streets of Paris, life in these villages moves at a slower pace. Local markets, family-owned bakeries, and traditional cafes remain at the heart of daily life, preserving customs that have been passed down through generations. Number 3. France's transportation will surprise you. Getting around France is an experience that often surprises first-time visitors. While many countries still rely heavily on cars or domestic flights, France has spent decades building one of the world's most efficient transportation networks, making it possible to cross much of the country quickly without ever boarding a plane. At the heart of this system is the TGV, or Train à Grande Vitesse, France's famous high-speed rail network. Some TGV trains can reach speeds of up to 320 kilometers per hour or nearly 200 miles per hour, connecting major cities such as Paris, Lyon, Marseille, Bordeaux, and Strasbourg in just a few hours. For millions of travelers each year, the train is simply the fastest and most convenient option. France has also taken steps to reduce short domestic flights where practical. Since 2023, certain domestic air routes have been restricted when a direct train journey of about 2.5 hours or less is available. The policy aims to reduce carbon emissions while encouraging greater use of the country's already extensive rail network. Although the rule affects only a limited number of routes, it reflects France's broader effort to promote more sustainable transportation. Inside cities, public transit is equally impressive. Paris alone has one of the busiest metro systems in Europe, with hundreds of stations serving millions of passenger trips every day. Add buses, commuter trains, modern tramways, and growing networks of bicycle lanes, and it's entirely possible for many residents to live comfortably without owning a car. Of course, the system isn't perfect. Rush hour can be crowded. Occasional strikes may disrupt schedules, and navigating a large station for the first time can feel overwhelming. Yet despite these challenges, France continues to rank among Europe's leaders in rail travel and public transportation. Number 2. France protects its culture. In an age of globalization, where many traditions gradually fade, France has chosen a different path. Instead of allowing its cultural identity to blend into the background, the country actively works to preserve its language, heritage, cuisine, and historic landmarks. For the French, culture is not simply something to admire, it's something to protect. One of the clearest examples is the French language itself. French remains the official language used in government, education, and public administration, and institutions such as the Académie Française, founded in 1635, continue to help preserve and guide the language. Although English is widely understood in tourist areas and international business, French remains at the heart of everyday life, and locals often appreciate visitors who make the effort to learn a few basic phrases. France also invests heavily in protecting its historic treasures. The country is home to dozens of UNESCO World Heritage Sites, including world-famous landmarks, medieval towns, Roman monuments, and breathtaking natural landscapes. Many historic buildings are carefully restored and preserved, so future generations can experience them as much as they have existed for centuries. Food is another source of national pride. Traditional recipes, regional specialties, and local farming practices are celebrated throughout the country. Weekly markets continue to thrive, family-owned bakeries remain neighborhood landmarks, and many culinary traditions have been passed down through generations rather than replaced by modern convenience. The same commitment extends to art, literature, cinema, and architecture. Museums, theaters, music festivals, and cultural events receive strong public support, helping make culture an everyday part of life, rather than something reserved for tourists. Number 1. Why the world loves France. After exploring France's surprising traffic rules, slow-paced meals, café culture, timeless fashion, hidden villages, and deep respect for tradition, one question remains. Why does this country continue to captivate millions of people year after year? The answer goes far beyond the Eiffel Tower. France consistently ranks among the world's most visited destinations, welcoming around 100 million international tourists in 2024, a new national record. Visitors come not only to see famous landmarks, but to experience a lifestyle that feels increasingly rare in today's fast-moving world. Every region offers something completely different. Paris dazzles with its grand boulevards, museums, and iconic architecture. Provence is known for rolling vineyards and fragrant lavender fields. The French Riviera combines Mediterranean beaches with glamorous seaside towns, while the Loire Valley showcases magnificent Renaissance castles. In the east, Alsace charms visitors with colorful half-timbered houses, and in the Alps, world-class ski resorts attract travelers throughout the winter. Yet what many people remember most isn't a monument, it's the atmosphere. It's the morning walk to a neighborhood bakery, the quiet conversations on a cafe terrace, the local market filled with fresh produce, or the peaceful streets of a centuries-old village. These simple moments reveal a way of life that values quality over speed and tradition over convenience. France is a country full of surprises, where every street, village, and tradition tells a different story. We hope this journey has helped you discover a side of France you may have never seen before. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss our next adventure. Share this video with your friends, and let us know in the comments which country you'd like us to explore next. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next documentary.